Howdy, guys. I don't even think I got my microphone on. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm so happy to be talking to y'all tonight. I wasn't sure if it's going to happen or not. Uh, Howdy to all of y'all. Before I go any further, SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV fans all over the world, but I especially love the fans that week in, week out are out here watching this show, interacting with me and giving me questions and comments and everything else. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Which doesn't mean I don't also appreciate those of you who watch it on replay later. I know all y'all can't be out here on a Monday night. I almost couldn't be. I got a little story to tell you. But for those of you who are watching on replay, thank you as well. I appreciate it. Always keep in mind, if you watch a replay, if you got questions for the following week, you can put them in the comments on the video, and I'll try to read through those and try to address it for the following week. But I hope y'all are doing well this evening. Let me look at the comments before I tell you a little story about my trials and tribulations to get here this evening. David Buchanan, howdy, sir. Brian Hostetler, howdy, sir. Jake, the horror movie geek. Jake, my favorite horror movie of all time, Dawn of the Dead, the original, not 2004, not Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn? Not Tim Gunn's the fashion guy, right? The other Gunn that did the remake. I love me some horror movies as well. Ma, howdy. I hope you're doing well. Mark Taylor, Chaz, all my friends are out here. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Welcome aboard. Shelly Goncalves, Elisha, Lawrence Santiago, Julia Shepard, Michelle Moore. It's so cool when I recognize all these names out here. So thank y'all again for the support. It means a lot to me. All right, it's been, and I'll tell you a little story. It's been 3 years since I tried out for Big Brother. 3 years, 2.5 years since I was on the show. So it's part of my life. They'll never go away. Such a different part of my life. Such a stressful at times, such a fun part of my life. Something I'll never forget. But yeah, it's been 2.5 years. That is incredible. All right. So let me tell y'all, and Andy W. and Paula Scar, I didn't want to leave y'all out either. So welcome to all of y'all. All right. Let me fill y'all in on a little bit of a secret until now. And I'll tell you, I'm not, as you can tell by the background, this isn't maybe your normal Cliff Notes Live. I've done 64 episodes straight where I've never missed a Monday. I've been out here doing it every single Monday night for a little over a year. What was that, a year and 3 months, something like that. I didn't think it was going to happen tonight. I'm not at home in Houston. I'm up in Fort Worth, Texas. I grew up in Fort Worth, but I'm actually up here not to visit family or anything else. There's a big chemical conference going on, specialty chemicals, and I'm up here working at this conference and networking with people and doing things that you do in real world jobs and all of that. Well, I thought I was going to have a business conflict. I didn't think I'd be able to do the show this evening because we had the show all day long. And then from 5:30 to 7, we had a Cowboys and Gals networking event, which I don't know, I kind of fit right in, right? It worked out pretty well. But that was supposed to go to 7. I thought I'd have some clients afterwards that I'd have to spend a little time with. So now here's a little secret. I sat down last night and I recorded a Cliff Notes Live for this evening, going over kind of what I want to talk about this evening as well. Did it, I don't know, 40 minutes or so worth of stuff. And I set it up to publish tonight at 7 o'clock. If I wasn't here in time to do the show, because I didn't want to leave y'all hanging. I would have felt guilty if y'all came out here and there's nothing. That wouldn't be fun. So I thought, well, if I can't do it live, I'll at least have something going on. But as fortune would have it, I got through with my little networking gala. I'm wearing the same clothes I wore there, so that worked out well. I hightailed it. I won't say I ran, but I certainly walked very fast to get back to my hotel. Got everything set up just so I could do the Cliff Notes Live with y'all this evening. Once I get done with that, I'll go get some dinner, something else later this evening, and enjoy downtown Fort Worth. Been kind of enjoyed it so far. That little network reception, had a few Crown and Cokes, so who knows what may be coming out of my mouth this evening. But yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it, but I'm so happy. So happy I did. As I said on the real pre-recorded that y'all will now probably never see, I don't like when it's just me talking and I don't get y'all's comments and y'all's inputs and everything else. It's not nearly as much fun. With that being said, I'm going to read through the comments. Now, here's another thing y'all don't know. When I do these shows, my wife Sharon's usually helping me out, trying to help me with the comments and everything else. Because sometimes y'all know me, I can only read so fast. I get lost on some of the comments stuff. So she helps me not get too far ahead or usually too far behind is more the case. Tonight, it's all going to be on me. So y'all have some patience. Lauren Sondale, can you still publish the video? Well, I guess it depends on how well this next hour goes, right? If this one doesn't go, no. Yeah, no, I probably won't post it unless we end up not getting to some things I talked about. And as you would expect, it's all reality TV I was talking about last night. So probably I won't. This will be a lot better. It's always better when I get to talk to y'all instead. But we'll see. And Moss ain't uploaded as well. I don't know. We'll let me sit on it. Let me think on it. Here's the thing. I've never watched my whole season of Big Brother. Not that. I'm proud of how I did in the house and all of that. It's just, I'm sure a lot of y'all are the same way. You don't necessarily like to watch yourself on videos or hear recordings of yourself or anything. You kind of feel awkward sometimes. In some ways, I feel like that watching Big Brother and seeing me on there. It's like, is that really me? Am I the one that can't carry a rhythm for the life of them and doing the mob dance and all that? So, I don't know. It takes a lot to embarrass me. So I don't get embarrassed watching it. It just feels funny watching myself on TV. And I kind of feel the same way when I'm doing a show that doesn't have y'all's interaction as well. Now, 15 minutes, the Big Brother recaps, that's different because I'm just trying to get some information out there and shut it down. This one being interactive, so much better than anything I did last night. I promise you that. Just trust me. I promise you that is the case. Ma's saying, I want to see Sharon someday. Yeah, okay. I've heard that before. We got to talk Sharon into it. Sharon was very, very understanding to let me go on the show because as outgoing as I am, and I know, I like my private time as well. I'm not always out there yelling and dancing and acting goofy and all that. I did it for the show, but and I enjoyed it. There's certainly a side of me where I kind of turn it on and do my thing, and especially doing sales and all that's the same way. But Sharon's a little more private, and so. I remember her saying, Cliff, do you really want to be on something where they're looking at you 24 hours a day and all that? Yeah, why not? I don't have anything to hide, but we'll work on it, but no promises as far as Sharon. Sharon's watching this evening, so Sharon, the gauntlet's been thrown down. They want to see you on as a special guest. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that for our next wedding ever, not for our wedding anniversary. We got other plans for that, but around that time, maybe we'll do as a special on a very special Cliff Notes Live episode. We'll do something like that. We'll see. Chaz saying you should watch your season. It's a good one and you did a good job. Nobody's perfect, but you played a game to be proud of. Well, thank you. I always tell people, because it never fails. When I come out here and I talk about Big Brother, there's always someone that says, yeah, you should have done this and you would have won the whole season. Well, first of all, most of those people I'll disagree with. I think is a lot harder than sometimes people envision. But the other thing I always tell people, at the end of the day, there isn't a single decision that I've made while I was in that house that wasn't done with the intent of me getting to the very end and winning the whole thing. I never said, I should do this for strategy standpoints, but I'm going to do this instead just because I feel like not winning today. Now, I did everything thinking it was going to get me all the way down the road. When you may have to make dozens, hundreds of decisions over the span of 3 months, some work out. Some don't work out. Man, that's just the way life goes. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I've seen some of my season, and I'll watch the rest of it later. It just, I don't know. I know the ending. It's like watching a movie. You already know the ending. So it does make me realize that some of these actors and everything that say, I've filmed all these shows and I've never watched any of them I was in. I kind of get it. But I don't know. I also think if I was like a grade A movie star, man, I'd be so arrogant. I'd be watching all of those, and I'd probably be making everyone around me watch them as well. But I get it. I do. Julie Shepard, have you seen Julie Chen Moonves? Well, I saw her when I got booted out of the house. I didn't really want to see her that night, but I did see her. I saw her when we went into the house, and I saw her in finale night. So what is that? 3 times that I've seen old Julie Chen Moonves. Nice enough. I mean, it's not like we went out and hit the clubs and went to a rave together or anything like that. So I don't really know her. I've only talked to her a little bit officially as part of the show. And then when we went to commercial, we talked a little bit. It seems nice enough. But yeah, I've met her. I just don't really know all the deep, dark secrets of Julie Chen Moonves. You know what I mean. Michelle saying, are you just on Mondays now till the next Big Brother? I don't know. probably, maybe. I don't think I'll be doing a recap for Big Brother Canada, and we'll talk about that in a second. There's not as much to do recaps up there. There's a new season of Survivor coming out. Now, I covered the last season of Survivor, just like a little 15-minute recap after every episode. And maybe I'll do that. It just depends on what's going on time-wise and all of that. So I don't know for certain, Michelle. But here's the thing. A little segue, if you will. If you aren't already subscribed to this channel, it may be an okay idea to go ahead and subscribe, because if I do decide to do Big Brother Canada or Survivor or something else, if you're subscribed, you'll get notifications. If you turn on notifications, you'll get notifications when I do a recap, something like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Certainly, I'm going to keep doing the Monday nights. Am I going to recap some other shows? Maybe. We'll see what's going on. I'd like to. It's just a matter of how many hours in the day are going on. So we'll see. And who's that? Ma saying, yeah, might cover Big Brother Canada or challenge season. You know, the challenge, I did that one season, and maybe I'll do it again, but those guys are just that's hard so much drama in that show sometimes. I feel like, I mean, not that there's not strategy in the challenge, but a lot of times I feel like I'm just talking about, oh, so-and-so hollered at so-and-so. So-and-so threw a drink in someone's face, and yeah, man, I feel like Perez Hilton or something doing a gossip column, or, TMZ or something, the way they kind of go at it. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll cover a challenge. Maybe I'll cover it if some of the people that I know go on to a challenge. Have y'all heard there's a challenge that's on MTV, and now there's talk about Paramount Plus apparently wants to do their own challenge. And I don't know if it's going to be called a challenge or it's going to be called something else, but apparently they want to maybe bring in a lot of people who didn't start off in MTV, that maybe started more on Big Brother and Survivor and shows like that CBS channels, and bring them into the challenge, which is what I've heard. It's kind of cool. I mean, there may be people that were in my season of Big Brother, or people I've met since my season of Big Brother, they end up going on the challenge. So I definitely would watch that, and I definitely talk all about those people as well. So we'll see. All right, let's see some other comments as I get through with this. What did you think of the Celebrity Big Brother cast being able to see live feeds before voting? Seems to change the mind of a lot of players this year. You think? So let's talk about Celebrity Big Brother. First of all, that finale, man, oh man, I thought it was done. We got the final two, Todrick, Misha, who wins, whatever. I thought all the drama was gone. Oh, I couldn't be more wrong. Those jurors were bitter, right? Maybe the most bitter jury I've ever seen. They were salty, they were snarky. Throw in whatever word you want to throw in. It just means they were pissed. They all had something to say. It was amazing. When I was on the finale, when we had to vote between Holly and Jackson Mickey, we were told, first of all, whatever you do not show anyone your key of who you're voting for. Do not tell the final two who you're voting for. And they said also, don't say anything that makes it so obvious that who you're voting for. Don't say, oh, I think it's time for a woman to win, so I'm casting my vote like it. And, nothing like that. They said you can be a little cryptic. You can say some things like, I'm voting for who I think played the best social game or whatever. But they said, do not say anything that makes people figure out who you're voting for ahead of time, because we want it to be a surprise. Well, we knew who everyone was voting for on that particular final, right? Man, they were dragging it. Was it Shayna that said something about, your favorite show or musical is The Wizard of Oz, but you forgot that at the end you see who's behind the curtain, just like we've done. Todd Bridges, I've never said Todd Bridges maybe was the VIP for that whole evening, because I've never seen anyone succeed in the eye roll as well as he did during Todrick's speech. Todd Bridges, he couldn't roll those eyes any further back up in his head hearing some of that stuff. And it was interesting because Todd, when he got booted, had already said, Todrick played the best game. He's going to get my vote. Well, how quickly things changed once he saw those live feeds, right? So, yeah, getting back to the original question, it definitely made a huge difference not being sequestered, because not only did they get to see all the live feeds, but they also got to see how the public was responding. And I refuse to believe that these celebrities didn't look at the public reception or perception about the final two and how the public thought about them. I refuse to believe that these House guests, these jurors, didn't take that into a little bit of consideration when deciding which way they were going to vote. No one wants to vote for a person that looks like they've just absolutely been villainized and demonized by everyone on social media, which seems like that was kind of the case with Todrick, right? I mean, Lord, that guy, he's got some work to do. It's tough for Todrick. Not that it's not deserved. I mean, here's the thing, thinking about Celebrity Big Brother. The final two players, they probably deserve to be there. If you're talking just strategic play, they made some great moves. They pulled a fast one on Cynthia and Carson and got Shanna out. I thought that was a great move. Was it dirty? Was it underhanded? Yeah, but it's absolutely within the rules of Big Brother, and that's sometimes you do that as part of the game. I don't have any problem with that. From a strategic standpoint, I think the strongest two players were in the final two. It's just there were some personal attacks, things that weren't necessary that became personal or attacks on family and things like that. And that's what I hated to see. And I know that's what created a lot of the bitterness with some of these jurors. And once people start getting upset, day and age of social media, everyone else just piles on. It just gets worse and worse. And it was hard. Todrick, Lord, he got done with that one. When they came out of the house, no one would stand up and go congratulate either one of them. Even when Julie kind of said, "Oh, y'all can stand up," they stood up, but I still didn't see anyone talking to Todrick or Misha. They were talking amongst themselves, the jurors. And then at one point, they cut to commercial, and you see Todrick kind of walking off the stage. And then, sure enough, he canceled all of his press interviews after the show was over. It's going to be hard for Todrick. And now he's kind of gone incognito. He's really not involved in any of the social media. Don't blame him. That may be the best thing for him right now, because he's facing a little bit of a backlash for some of the stuff went on. So it's interesting. All right, we'll talk more about Celebrity Big Brother, but I still want to see what else is being talked about with y'all. Do you know the TV ratings of the final Celebrity Big Brother? Not a clue, Mark. I think the numbers were down compared to a regular season of Big Brother, but I think that's always the case a little bit. Some of it is during the summer, there's not a lot of original live or fresh TV on, so Big Brother gets a bump because of that. And Celebrity, because it's so fast, people don't get hooked as quickly. So there's some things that cause that. But now I know at one point the numbers were a little bit lower than even for Celebrity season, but no, we'll see. Julia's saying, please do Survivor. I'll keep that in mind. No promises, but we will see. All right, let me look at a few of those. Live feeds. Do I still travel a lot with your job? Amanda Lowe's asking. Not like I used to. One of the things I think it helped me get on Big Brother was talking about all the countries I've been to. I've counted them up at one point. It's like 30-something countries. I've been all over, in countries that most people don't go to. Speaking of, I've never been to Ukraine, but I've been to Russia. But I feel so much sympathy with the Ukrainian people. This isn't a political show, so I'm not going to get into it the way I'd like to, because I have some definite strong feelings. But I really feel for any country who's being invaded and they're having to basically lay their lives on the line to try to defend themselves. And I hope they provide enough resistance that the Russians think twice, back off. Maybe they can work out something and keep from dragging all the rest of us into World War III. We went through 2.5 years of COVID and a pandemic, and we get rewarded for that by getting a world war started up right afterwards. Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm ready to go back to normal. So Russia, just go back to Moscow and make some more Fabergé eggs or something to keep you busy, because I don't want to have to be dealing with this, but deal with it we must. And like I say, incredible sympathies for the folks of Ukraine. So in my political soapbox, I don't even know how I got on that point. But talking about travel. No, I don't travel as much as I used to. And what travel I do right now is primarily domestic travel. I don't deal with the international markets anymore. Maybe somewhere down the road. I kind of miss it. Here's what I miss. Now that my kids are older and not in school and all that, if I did international travel, I'd be able to take Sharon with me on a few more trips. And I'd love to show her the world instead of me just going over and doing these little solo trips and coming right back home. So from that standpoint, I'd love to do some more of it just so we can explore the world together. But right now, it's just domestic travel and not a whole lot of it so far. Fred Benson, are you going to do The Amazing Race and all those filmations, Cliff? I did one season of The Amazing Race, the one with Will and James, and I met them. They're such incredible guys. They're really nice guys. I don't know. I'm not covering this season of Amazing Race, but maybe the next season. We'll see. talking about Will and James, do y'all remember the final episode of their season of Amazing Race? They were in New Orleans, and one of the big tasks that they had to do is, I can't remember which one it was, had to eat through all these king cakes until they could finally find the one that had baby Jesus in it. For those of you who don't know, a king cake is a special cake that we have at Mardi Gras. I don't live in Louisiana. My family and my parents lived there right before I was born, but in Louisiana, they have a special cake. It's like a big cinnamon roll. It's colored in purple and yellows and everything. And they hide a little plastic baby Jesus in it. Whoever gets a piece that has baby Jesus in it is supposed to then has to be the host for the next Mardi Gras party that they have. So anyway, the Amazing Race, they had to eat through just dozens and dozens of these king cakes before they found the baby Jesus. Well, the Hearts of Reality, I talked to Will and James, and they were laughing. They said that at their wedding, they had a groom's cake that was actually like 10 different king cakes, all different flavors that were stacked on top of each other. And so it was a big inside joke that they had the king cakes. But I say all that because did y'all know tomorrow, Tuesday, is Fat Tuesday, which in French is pronounced as Mardi Gras. Mardi is Tuesday. Gras is fat, I guess, big Tuesday. So yeah, tomorrow night's Mardi Gras. We celebrate it here in Houston, down in Galveston, the island that's right next to Houston. They have a big Mardi Gras celebration. Not like they do in New Orleans and not like they do down in Rio de Janeiro. Oh my gosh, I've been to Rio de Janeiro a few times, but I've never been down there during the Carnival season, their Mardi Gras. How cool would that be? But everything is so packed, expensive, crowded. I maybe wouldn't enjoy it as much when I got down there. But anyway, so happy early Mardi Gras to all of y'all. All right. Let's see. Ma saying, I understand, just couldn't stand Jack, Michelle, Bella, Sis, Holly, yada, yada, yada. Well, that's a lot of names to throw out there. I get it, Ma. Here's the thing. I lived with them for 90-something days. Some of them not 90 days. Some of them went home a little earlier than that. But I got to see all of those people. They're good traits. They're bad traits. They're just like everyone else. There's no one in that house that was perfect. There was no one in that house that was completely horrible. It was all along the spectrum. Different. Some people a little more one direction than the other, but I tend to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I try to see the best in all people, and that's why everyone in my season, I would love to be friends with all 15 of them. I don't hope. Talk about me all you want on the live feeds. I don't care. Not really. It's part of the game. Talk about me as much as you want. Say horrible things about me. Once we get out of the house, I never have held anything that was said inside the house personally against anyone that I was in the house with. I wish more people would do that, but people have grudges. People get upset. It's human nature. Not everyone can just kind of ignore it as well as some can. But I hold nothing against any one of those 15. I'd give each and every one of them a hug if I had the opportunity. So there you go. All right. Who's going to win the race? I hope it's the stewardess that wins. That's about an Amazing Race that Mark's talking about. I like a lot of those teams. I got to say there's a couple of teams that could do with a little assistance from a navigation standpoint that maybe have relied a little too much on Waze over the years because they can't drive. They can't read a map. They can't figure anything out if they don't have a computer talking to them. I've been amazed at how many times people seem to have gotten lost or appear to absolutely be lost and go in the opposite direction. I've liked the Amazing Race so far. They've had some fun challenges. They were in Greece this last week, breaking plates and everything. I always like Amazing Race. That would be a fun competition to go on. Let's see. Did you see all the nasty comments that were said on the live feeds? Julia said. I didn't see all of them, but I got to say I probably either saw them or heard about them. Yeah, there were things that were said that were, as I said before, they went beyond the game, and that's unfortunate. But it is so stressful in that house, and people start taking things personally, and they start trying to. Sometimes it's a mean girl syndrome. Sometimes you're saying something that's kind of mean about one person as a tactic to try to get some other person a little closer to you. The enemy of my enemy is a friend, however that saying goes. It's just a weird situation in that house. And so I've always thought it this way. Think about the time in your life when you were the most spiteful or mean or upset or short-tempered, however you want to say it. that time that you think back, God, I can't believe I did that. If I had anything to do, go back and change that, I would. We all have that moment where there's just a time that you just didn't respond the way that you now know you should have responded, right? Now, take that one time and imagine that cameras and millions of people are watching it. And they see you during that one moment in time, and they judge everything about you based on what you saw in that one particular moment in time. And that's what I think you see sometimes with some of the Big Brother. And I'm not talking specifically Todrick. I'm not talking specifically my season or Big Brother or anything. I'm just saying that that these shows are designed to create drama and conflict and paranoia, and sometimes they do such a good job of it that people get drug in. And so I just don't want to judge people based on what a camera showed at one point in time. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt until I get to know them as a person outside the house, which doesn't mean that some of the things said shouldn't have been said and should be followed up with some apologies and things like that. But y'all know me. I want to try to find the good in people. All right. Chad saying, Cliff, were you as mad as I was about the jury questions getting cut out of the finale, especially with how bitter they were? Yeah. Why did we not have a 2-hour ending to Celebrity Big Brother? It's just an extra hour. You could give us an extra hour and cut out one of your 14 CSI episodes or something, a different series. Yeah, they should have had 2 hours and let the jury ask questions. Maybe they were worried about the questions that the jury was going to ask, right? I mean, they knew more than we did about just how bitter or what was planned. Maybe they started off saying, all right, what questions do y'all want to ask? And because here's something that y'all may not know as well. When we ask the jury questions, they are created by us. I mean, we actually came up with the questions that we asked during our season, but the producers were in there to kind of listen and to give us some advice. Now, most of the advice was things like, don't ask a question that they can just answer yes or no, or that they can just deny, and then you don't have anything to follow up. They said, make it open-ended enough that they have to actually give you some explanations and do some talking instead of just shutting you down with a single word. So they were paying attention to the questions we came up with. And I think if we'd come up with just a horrific question of, why are you such a horrible person? They may have said, yeah, you need to think about that one for a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe these celebrities came up with their list of questions. The producers looked at it and said, oh, Lord, there's no way we can let those on national TV. We will pay the price. And so at that point, someone said, yeah, we're just going to do an hour. Sorry, no questions. I don't know if that's what happened, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen some of the questions that were going to be asked. It would more so the questions. I mean, yeah, I want to see the questions being asked. More so, I want to see how Misha and Todrick would have responded to some of those questions. Because I think there was, forget about the bitter stuff. I mean, you can attack them and say, did you really, mean this when you said this, and that, and all that. But I would have been interested in questions such as, hey, Todrick, Misha won so many of the competitions. Didn't you just kind of ride her coattails to the very end of this competition? Or, Misha, yeah, you're an athlete. You're MMA. We all know that you're an athlete, but tell us some strategic stuff that you did as opposed to Todrick coming up with the idea and you just kind of supporting him. I would have been curious to see how they would have answered some of these challenges about what roles they played as part of this duo to get to where they did. I don't know. It would have been fun, but we missed it. And que sera, sera. All right, let's see. What else? Julia's saying, have you seen Julie's God 101 show where she interviews Big Brother players? No, I haven't. I heard about it once. I haven't watched it. It'd be kind of interesting. Julia's saying, were you surprised Carson got America's favorite house guest? I don't know. No, not really. He deserves it. I have zero problem with Carson getting America's house favorite. He was so funny in the diary rooms. He was just fun in the house. He was fixing the cakes and everything else. I would have had a blast being in the house with Carson. And I don't know. He was fun. He didn't take the game so seriously, and yet he took it seriously enough that he was there to play the game. Lamar was great. I love Lamar. I'd love to hang with that guy a little bit and pick his brain a little bit more as well. He was fun, but he didn't come to play the game. He was just there. He was just there hanging out, enjoying a little February vacation. Carson came to play the game, but also was a fun guy to watch. Now, my favorite my choice on my voting was for Shayna. And I was really thinking Shayna and Lamar and Todd Bridges. Those were kind of my top three. I don't have any problem with Carson winning it all. I'm guessing, and it's just a guess on my part, I'm guessing the people who really watch the live feeds intensely probably were voting a little bit more for Shayna and Lamar and Todd, perhaps, but voting that much more towards them. And I have a feeling Carson probably won it for all the people who don't watch the live feeds, who just watch the episodes that we call them casuals. And that, I don't know, is that, I guess that's okay to say that. But the ones who aren't as passionate about watching every single second in that house, I think a lot of them, Carson had the name recognition, the exposure before he ever went in the house, that a lot of people probably said, oh yeah, I know Carson from Queer Eye and all that. So he probably had a lot of built-in votes from the more casual viewers that helped him win. And I got no problem with it. He deserved it. Any one of those four I mentioned, I would have been perfectly fine with it. But seriously, celebrities tend to be dramatic. I'm not really surprised to have seen that. Moss saying, no, that's true. Maybe they thought that was their last chance to really make an impact in the game. Oh, God, that was great. What grade did you give the Celebrity Big Brother? I give it an A-. Mark saying, yeah, I don't know. You know what? I think casting did a good job. They had players. They had super fans in there. They had some players that didn't have a clue, but sometimes those folks are fun to watch as well. They had some really athletic people. They had some people that we knew. I feel like they had a good mix of a lot of different people. There were a few people, like Teddy and even Mariah, that we maybe didn't get to see enough to see how they would have played the game, given a little bit more time. But I think casting did a fantastic job. The competitions I enjoyed. The actual games they played, I thought they were great. I really enjoy. I hope we see some of those competitions in a regular season of Big Brother, like that one competition where you had to quickly identify what part of the screen the "Marry Me" sign was in, or the one with the shuffling of the elite veto and the limos and things like that. I mean, there were some competitions I kind of enjoyed watching. Rolling the balls through the potatoes, things like that. How come I didn't get one like that during my season? I think as much as I played skee ball growing up, I think I would have done okay in that potato rolling competition, but I didn't get that. I had to hang off of stuff instead and didn't do so well at that. So, no, I really like the competitions. From a strictly strategic gameplay standpoint, I don't know. Misha was so dominant that it let her and Todrick keep power a little bit more than I wish they'd had it. I really wish that Carson and Kirk, Chris Kirkpatrick and Cynthia, I wish that side had just one or two more HOH wins to kind of flip back and forth, and it didn't happen. So not as bad as All-Star Big Brother, where we knew every single week exactly what was going to happen. But this season, we had a lot of weeks, not week cycles, I guess, a couple of days. We pretty much knew what was going to happen, right? There were a few little ones, like when Shayna went home instead of Misha and all that. But for the most part, it was a little bit too predictable. But sometimes that just happens. So now A-. I'd maybe give it that. Maybe B+, A-. I don't have any issues with it. It's Celebrity Big Brother. It's a quick season. There's only 11 players as opposed to 16. So you don't have as much time for real relationships to build up and real drama and backstabbing occur. You just don't have as much time for things like that to happen. And so we pay the price a little bit. But no, I thought that was pretty good. What do you think of the feed being down 60% of the time? Well, Fiery Ice, I never heard the number about how often it was down. It sure seemed like it was down a lot. I don't know. They're celebrities. I wouldn't expect the feeds to be up as much as for us regular people when we're in the house. I'm sure. Obviously, I haven't seen the contracts for the celebrities, but I'm guessing these celebrities probably had so many little special terms in their contracts that you can't show me when when I've got my hair up in rollers. You can't show me when I'm taking a shower. I don't know. I'm guessing there's a lot of things that were probably they had to be more careful of, as opposed to those regular players where we're just so grateful to be in the house. I was like, yeah, you're going to be owned by CBS. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. We're going to show you naked in the shower. Yeah, okay, whatever. We didn't have any leverage. Yeah, the regular player to Big Brother just says, yeah, put whatever you want in front of me. I'll sign it as long as it means I can get on the show. Celebrities aren't like that. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that it's 60% of the time if that was the case. They're celebrities. I'm just happy we got live feeds at all. And there's a few players, Todrick, Who may wish it had been 70% instead of 60% that the live feeds were down, right? I don't know. It's oh, there's some people that it's hard. Now, here's a question for you. As much heat as Todrick, and not just Todrick, I mean, there's others that caught some heat as well, but he seems to be the one everyone's focused on. As much heat as some of the people in that house caught for comments that were said during their season, what's it going to be like next year if they want to do Celebrity Big Brother 4? Are celebrities going to look at this season and say, not only no, but hell no, I'm not going on that show and risking everything I've done because I may say something dumb and, you know, something that just is going to ruin everything I've worked for all these years. What do you call the celebrities that were on this season? They're not A-list. That's not Rihanna and Tom Cruise in there, but, you know, they're what? B-list, C-list celebrities. Next season, we may be down to the J, K, L, and M celebrities. Yeah, we may say, who is this person? Oh, well, this person was an extra on a sitcom back in the 1970s. And everyone used to laugh because he was the one that, when he was the extra, the show would get canceled. It was like, yeah, okay. M-list celebrity. I don't know. I just wonder who is willing to go on the show when there is so, I mean, it's bad enough when it's just regular house guests that are dealing with it. But when you're a celebrity, your career is based on your relationship with fans and people that are watching Big Brother and watching your movies or your TV shows, you're putting a lot on the line to volunteer to do that. So I don't know. Seasons on down the road, we may either get the people who are really desperate to rehabilitate their image or people that are just way, way further down on the celebrity list than maybe we're used to. Maybe not. Maybe I'm still hoping that we'll get someone like a Lance Bass or Neil Patrick Harris, some of these Jerry O'Connell, some of the people that are truly big fans that have said they'd like to go on the show. I don't know. I don't know if Neil Patrick Harris has ever said he'd like to go on, but I know he's a big fan. That's kind of cool. Thinking he may have watched me on TV. But yeah, it was, I enjoyed the season. It was a nice little refresher. Here's what I did like. I liked those Monday Night Live shows. It wasn't double evictions, but just where you had the veto and then you immediately used it or didn't use it and went and voted someone out. I kind of like that. Now, there's something to be said for stretching it out so that you got a lot more people getting nervous and trying to work deals and all that. You don't get that when it's all live on TV. So you can't use that too much, but every once in a while, just to ramp up the excitement, the adrenaline a little bit, I kind of like that. I wouldn't mind seeing that every once in a while in a regular season of Big Brother as well. All right, let's see. 7:40. It goes so quick. Michelle Tuller, how'd you find the Russian people when you were there? Were they friendly towards Americans? Michelle, Russians aren't friendly towards anyone. I mean, I don't say that badly. I just say it as I had people come up and say, oh, you know, Cliff, people who had never met me before that knew I was an American. I said, well, how do you know I'm an American? And they said that the easiest way they can tell someone's an American is the shoes they wear. You know, instead of wearing very basic dress shoes, if you're wearing tennis shoes or boots, you know, things like that, you stand out. But the biggest thing they can tell about Americans versus everyone else, they said, you smile too much. You smile all the time. You're smiling when there's nothing going on. You must be an American. Well, yeah. I mean, y'all know me. I smile all the time. I'm going to be waiting at the pearly gates, smiling away. I hope I'm smiling while I'm waiting in line at the pearly gates. But no, that the Russians are very distant. It's kind of like being in the Big Brother house. When you get paranoid enough, when you think people are going to backstab you all the time, you get a little distant from them. You stop giving out information quite as easily. And I think that's the case with Russians. The ones I met, incredibly nice and friendly people once you get to know them. But getting to know them was difficult because until that happens, they really don't chit chat. They don't smile. They're just very, do your work, go home. I'm going to get on a metro. I'm going home. I don't want to hear about your family or anything else. I just want to do my stuff. So yeah, they're kind of distant. People would say they're cold, but it's just because, it's just because of their culture and the past of the Soviets and all that. And I walk by the big old KGB building that that looked very scary even after the Soviet Union was no longer. So I get it. But it's also funny in the wintertime, they're especially like that because everyone's bundled up. It's so cold over there. Freezing cold. So they're just bundled up. They just want to get from point A to point B. No chit chat. Just leave me alone. I just want to get here. In the summertime, it's a little bit different because then suddenly people are eating out on plazas, out on the sidewalks, and it just has a different feel when you're in Moscow in the summertime. What else do I know about Moscow? The women are so huge into fashion. Man, it's a big deal, all of the clothes and fashion over there. They're very focused on that sometimes, it seems like. I liked Russia. It was cool getting to go visit somewhere that I know 10, 15 years earlier, they would have looked at me and said, "You're the enemy. What in the hell are you doing here?" And now here I am just getting to explore, see the Kremlin and the armory and things like that. I wouldn't want to be over there right now. They may be looking at it as a little bit of the enemy. But back when I was over there, it's kind of cool. It's pretty neat. Ma saying, pandemic and a war, and I'm not even out of high school. Yeah, but think of the stories that you're going to have to tell your kids when you get older. They're going to say, "Oh, God, we heard that story before. We know that you stayed at home for 2.5 years. We know that Ukraine all, but yeah, that was 40 years ago. Move on. We're tired of hearing the story." All right, Chad saying, can you talk a little bit about what workday in the life of Cliff looks like? Do you love your job? I enjoy my job because I get to deal with a lot of people. It's a little bit of a variety. Company I work for takes all kinds of chemicals, and we help people either package them up into bags. You go into a store and you buy those big bags of fertilizer and things like that. We do a lot of that. We figure out the best way to package it up. We do it. We blend stuff together. Fertilizers take all these different ingredients. We help blend them together for companies and then give it back to them, and then they sell it. That's what we do. And a lot of what I do is talking to them, saying, you do it there at your facility, but we can do it cheaper and faster. We're specializing in that. So why don't y'all let us come in and do some of that? That's what I do. I enjoy it. Anything I can do to talk to people. Again, it's not the international stuff, which I enjoyed in oil and gas. And I'm not dealing with $500 billion projects the way I used to, but it's kind of cool. I spend a lot more time talking about chemistry. So for those of you who say, why am I taking chemistry class? I'll never use this stuff. You never know. You never know when it might come in handy. It comes in handy for me these days. All right, let's see. Let me get caught up on these comments a little bit. All my teachers are talking about Mardi Gras. Yeah, but it's a big deal down here in the South. It's a lot of fun. Have I watched Yellowstone or 1883 yet? Amanda saying, I was just talking to some of my coworkers about it a little bit. I haven't, and I was asking them, I said, do I need to watch 1883 first, or do I need to watch Yellowstone first? Because Yellowstone came out first, but then 1883, I guess, is a sequel or the prequel to it or whatever. And I was told, it probably doesn't matter, that 1883 kind of explains some of the stuff that you see in Yellowstone, but you can watch Yellowstone first and go back. So I want to. Here's what I want to watch. I want to watch Yellowstone in 1883, and I want to watch the last season of Ozark. I've watched all the other seasons, but I haven't watched the last season. So those are on my to-do list. All right, let's see. Have you watched? Yes, see. I did hear Carson and Chris Kirkpatrick talk about celebrities who cannot be anonymous and need to protect the brand while on the show. Makes it different than regular. Absolutely, Julia. It's just a whole different level of risk when you go in there. Are you going to cover BB Canada? We talked about that misfire. I don't know yet. No, I won't. But here's something I did want to tell y'all. I did something that I've never done before. I went and subscribed to a VPN service. What's it stand? Voice protocol. I don't know what it stands for. Why should I even offer up answers? I don't know. But what it does is it lets me use the computer and fool Globe TV or other companies into thinking that I'm logged in Canada or somewhere else. And so, yeah, I've got a VPN, so it's a little easier to watch the Big Brother Canada episodes and also watch the live feed. So I'm excited about that. So, yeah, I'm not going to cover Big Brother Canada. And here's why. Regular Big Brother, U.S. Big Brother, what I kind of specialize in is staying up all night long and watching all those overnight feeds that y'all don't want to stay up watching, and I don't blame you. But doing that and then doing a little 15-minute recap every morning. There's plenty of other people that do podcasts and shows talking about what's happening just overall throughout the entire day and strategy and all that. Now, I specialize in that little overnight window. Well, Big Brother Canada doesn't do that. They have a curfew, for lack of a better word. I remember season 8, I think. Yeah, it's 8. Jamar was in the house, and he would try to stay up all night long, and Big Brother say, time to go to bed. You got to go to bed. And they made him go to bed. I don't know, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. I don't remember what time it was. But because of that, for someone who covers the overnight live feeds, not nearly as much to cover if they've got a curfew. So, yeah, I'm not going to cover it, but I'm excited to watch it. They've already done the cast reveal, and I like the cast. It seems they've said they're going to do diversity, and I got to say they did it, but not just diversity in terms of sexual orientation or ethnicity. They've done that, but it just seems like they've done a decent job of diversity in terms of just people with a whole lot of different lifestyles in that house. I don't know who my favorite man. Maybe my favorite's going to be a guy named Martin. I guess he goes by Marty because he's 43. He's the oldest person in the house, which, let's talk about diversity. When the oldest person in the house is only 43, come on, Big Brother Canada. Let's raise that up just a little bit. There's nothing that says a 53 or a 63-year-old person can't compete on that show. But so the age is still a little more compressed than I'd like to see. But he's the older guy. He's a dad, so I feel like there's a little bit in common. Having said that, he'll probably first day be, I'll say, oh my God, I can't believe I was ever cheering for this guy. Whatever. That's the beauty about Big Brother. You go in with your preconceptions, your stereotypes, and based on that, you choose who you maybe will cheer for, who you think you may not be cheering for. And then they come in, they just blow it out of the water. And you say, well, that person's actually really funny, or that person completely let me down. It just shows every time something like that happens. Don't depend on stereotypes. Don't depend on your preconceptions about people. What's that saying about don't judge a book by its cover? Well, same way. Don't judge a Big Brother house guest based on a little 2-minute interview or the way they look, because you may find out you're completely wrong. But now, right now, until proven differently, I may be able to be cheering for Marty in that particular cast. But there's some fun people in there. Moose is in there. Summer. They got some fun names too in that cast. So it's gonna be fun. Lawrence Santiago. Carson was lame to believe Todrick. Well, yeah, I tend to agree with you. Not so much that he believed him, but when someone tells you something right at the time where it's going to benefit them the most, you got to be thinking a little bit about, why did they tell me that versus not tell me that? But whatever, Big Brother, because I was in there, you end up making assumptions and forming opinions based on just a tiny bit of information. We watch a live feeds and we know most everything that's happened. But inside the house, you're only privy to the conversations that you were part of. Even your best friend may come up and say, hey, I heard this or that. Well, hopefully you can trust them, but no guarantee that you can trust them. So even those you have to take with a grain of salt. So you end up with just a little bit of information that you have to come up with an overall opinion based on that. Carson and Cynthia were wrong in their opinions based on the information they got. They trusted the wrong people. They trusted Todrick and Misha when they came in and told them the story, and it's unfortunate. I trusted Nikki during my season a little more than I should. Nicole Anthony trusted some people during the All-Star season that she sure shouldn't have trusted. It happens. It's just what happens when you don't get as much information as we as the viewers see. So yeah, it's unfortunate. The game could have been a lot different if Carson didn't trust. And it's unfortunate from Shanna's standpoint that, she was riding the line. She was playing both sides early, but she kind of declared for Carson and Cynthia. And as soon as she does, she gets burned because of it. It was tough, but whatever. Lawrence Sandiego, Lamar had several strokes, so it takes him a few seconds to get words out sometimes. The fact that Lamar was even able to be in that house is incredible. You hear his history and what he went through. Gee, that guy, man. For him to even be walking around, much less competing on a wall and doing some of the stuff they did in the house, is amazing. I went in knowing that Lamar knew nothing about the game. I was so ready not to be cheering for him because I normally am not a huge fan of the recruits. I want people who are passionate about the game, and recruits normally aren't the ones who are passionate about it. So I went and kind of prepared for Lamar to be, another meta world piece who didn't really know the game, and just get him out of there, let the real people play the strategic game. But he was fun. I was happy to see him in the house. And he had some stories to tell that really humanized him and let you kind of develop some relationship with him. So, yeah, I was glad to have Lamar in there. Let's see. Fred Benson, did you know that Big Brother's 2 house guests took on the cast of Survivor in Big Brother 2 in 2001. No, I didn't know that. That'd be pretty cool. I'd love to have Big Brother All-Stars versus Survivor All-Stars, and I don't know, or send Big Brother players into Survivor players into the Big Brother house. I don't know. It would be fun to have some cross promotions between those. Remember the Battle of the Stars specials in the 70s? Yeah, I remember that. I remember a show called Superstar. The Superstars had all the NFL teams and baseball teams that would go out and do all kinds of challenges and stuff that were kind of like the challenge without all the drama and everything. It was purely athletic. But yeah, some of those were fun. All right, let's see. Jerry was on the wrong side of the stage. I'm reading through these quick because I know I've got like 4 minutes. When is Big Brother Canada starting? I believe it starts on Wednesday, Jelly Crossing. This coming up Wednesday is in like 2 days from now. And then March 9th, we got Survivor. This is as they say in the Christmas song, it's the most wonderful time of the year. But no, it's not Christmas. It's right about now when we get all the reality TV shows kicking back into gear. I'm ready for all of them. It's going to be a fun few weeks. Let's see. Cynthia said her contract said she didn't have to be up before 10. Wasn't that sweet? What would they have done if I told them I had that I wanted that in my contract? They probably would have said, sure, you don't have to get up before 10, but you're probably going to get booted out of the house. We'll make sure of it if you want to force that. And Lawrence Santiago, I choose to evict Putin. Yeah. So who's more hated right now on social media, Putin or Todrick? It may be closer than truly deserves to be. Man, Putin just gone over the deep end. Right? Yeah. Settle down, guy. Get back in your lane, bro. You run Russia the way Russia's always been run, but leave the rest of them alone. Yeah. Crazy time. All right, let's see. Chas, what's your favorite non-reality TV show that you've watched? All time? I don't know. Right now, maybe. I really like Bull, the show on CBS with the guy who plays the trial science lawyer and all that. That's always been, I've enjoyed that for the last few years. I like sitcoms, King of Queens, shows like that. Speaking of this day in history, 1983, I believe. 1983, on this day in history, the final episode of the final episode of MASH. Oh, talking about a TV show I loved. I absolutely love MASH. This TV show lasted longer than the actual Korean War lasted that it was based on. But yeah, I liked a lot of those 70s sitcoms and everything else. There's a few channels I found streaming and everything that show nothing but all the old TV sitcoms that were part of my childhood growing up. All right. Mine is probably Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. Nothing wrong with either one of those. I love both of those. Do I prefer Celebrity Big Brother or Big Brother Over the Top? I kind of like Big Brother Over the Top. They did it before people were quite as, we had internet and all of that, but they could do it now. And there's so many more people on social media and everything else. It would blow up a lot more than it did back then. So I'm ready for another season of Celebrity Big Brother. Big Brother Over the Top. Virtual Private Network. Okay, thank you, Michelle. See, I knew I didn't have any clue what VPN stood for. But I think it's going to work pretty well. Wow, 7:59, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through all these comments. I'm doing the best I can, but I do appreciate it. Let's see. March 2nd is my sister's birthday. Well, Miss Fire, congratulations and happy birthday to your sister. She's not a Big Brother Canada fan. Well, you can get her involved. It only takes watching one season and suddenly people can get hooked on these shows. All right. I think that's about it. What did I have on my notes? I really ought to shut it down, but let's see. Yeah, I think that's probably, that's going to do good. All right, I'll throw this out there real quick. Not only do we have Celebrity Big Brother over, with Big Brother Canada starting, this week, tonight, in fact, starts the Houston Rodeo. Oh, I love me some Houston Rodeo. You never know with the hat and everything else, right? We didn't get it for the last 2 years because of COVID shut it down and everything else, but now we're going to get rodeo, so I'm excited. I'm going to go at least once or twice and see the livestock and see the rodeo competitions and everything else. I'll tell you some stories next week because we're just out of time. And I don't want to drag this on and everything else. I got to go get something to eat because I still haven't eaten my dinner yet. So we'll shut it down right there. Hey, if any of y'all are in Fort Worth, come say hi. I'll be here for the next few days. Now, y'all have a great one. I got all kinds of stuff to tell y'all next Monday. So we'll have a full show. And I'm so happy I was able to do this one live because I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. But it worked out just fine. So, guys, thank y'all. Thank you so much. Father McCahey was one of the reasons why I converted to Catholicism. Speaking of MASH. Oh, Fred, there you go. Yeah. You never know how a TV show may change your life. Sometimes it's because you're on it. Sometimes it's because you identify with a character on the show. The TV is a wonderful invention, right? As long as you don't spend too much time in front of it. All right, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. A happy Mardi Gras to all of y'all. Enjoy Fat Tuesday, however you may or may not celebrate it. Let's see what happens with celebrity. I keep saying celebrity with Big Brother Canada. See how these house guests play out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, guys, I'll see y'all Monday. But until then, y'all have a great one. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Goodbye from Fort Worth. I will see y'all next week. Until then, adios, my friends. Bye.